As much as April did give me Sinners, which I loved, and so far will be my favorite movie of the year, it did start off this month not so good with something like a Minecraft movie. As much as people want to talk about the memes of that movie, if you want to actually be serious from a filmmaking standpoint, or at the very least from, an entertainment standpoint, for me, it was not worth it. Alright, it was just sad to say the least. But with this being Autism Awareness Month, it can end strong, knowing that we have good old badass autistic Batman just going around murdering people. As much as Ben Affleck is not on the spectrum, with how many actors over the years have tried to play autistic characters, he's not being offensive at all with this. I'll take that. I honestly will take an actor who is willing to be more respectful than not. I'll say that much.
Are you ready? Yeah.
The Accountant 2 is once again directed by Gavin O'Connor and again written by Bill Dubuque. The film stars Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, Cynthia Addai-Robinson, Daniella, and J.K. Simmons. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, Christian Wolf applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a Treasury chief's murder. If you guys saw my review for The Accountant, you know how much I enjoyed that film, especially upon rewatch because it had been such a long time. But I did find myself pleasantly surprised about the film, and as well as its portrayal of autism, as much as it does get a little exaggerated, maybe a tiny bit. At the very least, I'm happy knowing that it did not portray people on the spectrum as idiots or as dumb or really clumsy or offensive in that matter. But I'm going to be honest, I really wasn't expecting a sequel to this film, as it didn't really set up one. It was just kind of like a closing the book, that's it, that's over with. But I mean, I was willing to see what director Gavin O'Connor and Ben Affleck had cooking up with this sequel. I mean, if you're being brought back after almost 10 years to make something, hey, you might as well have come up with something good to at least entertain somebody like me on the spectrum to get behind. This time, Affleck and Bernthal, who was in the first film a bit as Christian's brother, that is the plot twist of the film. I'm sorry, but I mean, guys, it's been 10 years, okay? You had all this time. Where have you been? But as Christian's brother, Braxton. And although I really liked his performance, I do admit he wasn't really in it that much, and that was just because of, I guess, the twist. They didn't want to reveal it so quickly, so they wanted to keep him apart, and then by the end, they did get together by the end of that film. But they would be teaming up fully this time again, alright? They won't be separated. They are fully, full time, all together throughout this entire film. Having now watched this movie, I really enjoyed this sequel, as I think it actually improved upon some of the things that I had a bit of an issue with in the first film, or at the very least tried to tweak upon some things that could work. There are a couple of issues that I do have, two in particular, but before getting into that, here are the positives that I have. The performances are fun. Ben Affleck is reserved and efficient still as Christian Wolf. Just like in the first, Affleck still retains and expands upon Christian's autism by embracing it, not really hiding it, because in the first movie, of course, it fully tells us who Christian is, his upbringing, how he had to deal with his autism. But this time around, now he gets to fully just be happy with who he is. He gets to fully know that, yeah, I may be on the spectrum, but hey, I'm trying to make the best out of it. And that's at least kind of cool to see Affleck still kind of retain what he had in the first movie, but still now fully being open about it. He's not hiding or shying away or being super duper nervous about it. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but that he is now fully accepted who he is as just being him. And that is, I think, in this day and age, especially in this month, I think it's such a cool thing to hear. I understand this is an R-rated movie, and I know that, again, we'll get into the issues a bit, or at the very least, one thing that I did praise the last movie, and I still praise in this movie, but more on that in a little bit. But I do respect that Ben Affleck still took the time out, still did the research, and made sure that he was being as, not even just careful, but really just being respectful and being, honestly, more open to playing a character that isn't neurotypical. He is somebody who has his quirks, but it's not negative. It's not seen as a negative. It's seen as positive. It's never seen as an issue. And for that, I do respect a lot for Ben Affleck, because he does portray it in a way where I did find myself feeling like, man, somebody to finally look up to in a way that doesn't feel like a victim in this regard. On the opposite, John Bernthal is reckless and tough as Braxton. Unlike his on screen brother, Bernthal makes Braxton a rough and abrasive guy that only wants to spend time with Christian. Because as you saw in the first movie, you know how Christian was in terms of his upbringing and what he had to go through, and he had a brother, and all he wanted was to just spend time with him, to really just be with his brother. And so for this movie to have that, it was great, but also it gave John Bernthal a chance to fully now play pretty much kind of himself, or rather the Punisher. Okay, let's face that. And I'm not trying to be a jerk to John Bernthal. Absolutely not. I would never. I'm just saying he is kind of like the Punisher, but a little bit more laid back, if you will. At certain points, he's not as messed up in the head. He is very much more level-headed, but he is still kind of reckless and dangerous a lot of times. But at the very least, John Bernthal, he looked like he was having a ton of fun, and he was really having a ball playing a character like this. Both Affleck and Bernthal are amazing together. They have a brotherly love chemistry that makes the film a great time. They are absolutely the biggest reason to see this movie. Just their dynamic is so good. It's so great. Both Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, they looked like they were having a ton of fun on set. They felt like they just couldn't get enough of each other. And it seems to me like how they were filming this, they seem like they want to do more of these movies. And if they want to, they can. Depends on the quality as time goes on. But I cannot deny that there is always going to be one aspect that I wouldn't mind seeing both Affleck and Bernthal just having a ton of fun. The direction is tight. Director Gavin O'Connor once again manages to balance the drama and action pretty well and keeps the tone at a balance in terms of how well he directs it all and how he frames it and how he wants to keep the dramatic parts, especially with Christian trying to solve this murder, but still also taking time to at least kind of explain his feelings and his ways in which he thinks, still done very well. I really do appreciate Gavin O'Connor making sure that he doesn't feel like it's a joke or it's an act. He still takes this as serious as he can, although there are moments where it can get a little goofy, but like I said, more on that in a bit. But I do appreciate the fact that he was willing to balance all those elements out pretty well enough where it didn't feel like it was just jarring to see how he would be able to put both the drama and action together. The action is entertaining. Any action sequence knows how to showcase Christian's skills and the gunplay with Affleck and Bernthal. There might not be a lot of it, but when it does happen, it's an enjoyable time. I can't deny that. It's pretty fun, especially the end with the shootout. As much as people could say that maybe it's generic, for me, it's always cool to see actors a lot of the time show how much they prepped for the role, especially when it comes to shooting, because I do like me some celebrities who actually do train, go out and do stuff. And yeah, I did find myself actually enjoying how the action was displayed and actually showcased in the film. The cinematography is fluent. Once again, cinematographer Seamus McGovery keeps up with the style of the first, and he still does well with capturing the drama and the action, how it all looks, how it feels. You know me, I love wide open action. It's always been my favorite. Don't like this personal or shaky cam, rather. I really like it when a cinematographer knows pull back. It is okay to pull back from action. You do not have to be so up close and personal. And for him to be able to still keep the styling of the first and making sure that the drama is as serious as it can, but then having the action be as awesome as it can, that shows a cinematographer that knows what he's doing. The music is decent. Composer Bryce Dessner does a fine job with mixing the thrilling and brother dynamic with creating the score for the film, and it might be a little bit different from the previous film, but it still adds to this movie in particular. It does have the feels that the first movie had, but it doesn't feel like it is completely something else. It's in line with what the movie is. The production is steady, though a bit bigger on its budget. The effort still feels the same as it was on the first film. For an $80 million project, it's still impressive. People, I am at least happy knowing that there are some movies like this, or even Sinners, can show that you do not need to spend so much money. I get that there is extra with regards to the marketing, but on its budget alone, I'm talking about putting this all together, minus the marketing. It is always impressive to see these directors managing to pull off these budgets well enough to where it does not need to be bloated. I'm really kind of getting tired of how movie studios are blowing the budgets for these projects. And for a movie like this to still prove that you can make something good, and it doesn't need to be 100, but rather $200 million or even $300 million. Great, I like that. Please, I really would like it if more movies did not have to drain so much money all the time. With, like I said, Sinners and this, it proves you can make something look like $200 million, but showcase that it really wasn't that much money to make. The autism portrayal is effective. Like the first, the film now fully embraces Christian's autism in a positive way, doesn't again demean or dehumanize who Christian is. It showcases his traits, what he likes, and what he's used to, how his brain works. Though the movie starts to make it even more outlandish, and people, when I say it becomes outlandish, oh boy, by the end of this movie, the autism, not just on Affleck, because it then reveals like who helps him, because he always has a contact in terms of when to do jobs, when to do missions. I'm not gonna lie, as much as I appreciate this movie and as much as I am happy that it doesn't portray autistic people as either jerks or stupid or offensive in terms of how it comes off, I will not deny the movie does get very outlandish. I was even laughing and sometimes saying bullshit half the time. But I am still allowing this to be portrayed in this film. Like, I am fine with how it goes about in this movie. No matter how outlandish it gets, is better than most Hollywood films have had with autistic people being portrayed. Because, goddamn, it's too many. And if it takes it to being to the extreme outlandish, I'll take it. I honestly will, and I'm not offended because it's not offensive. It doesn't make me mad. I'm just saying I'd rather take this than how Hollywood had used to do with how autistic people be portrayed. If it takes a bunch of kids hacking into traffic lights, street cameras, government drones, I'll take it. I honestly will take it. I don't care how outlandish it'll get, and as much as I can laugh at the stupidity of it, I will take that so much than all the other movies that have come before this. And the story is actually pretty good. Having Christian and Braxton team up to take on bad guys was a delight to watch, and I know that's kind of funny to say, delight. Also, it was more understandable than the first, because my biggest problem with the first movie was that the story was a little convoluted because it had to deal with a robotics company that Christian was trying to uncook books for its money. And as it went along, it was so convoluted by the end, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell is happening. Not the Christian or Braxton, none of that stuff. I got that. I'm talking about what is the goal or the thing that sets up Christian's journey in that film. It was messy. This movie, much better. I can understand what's going on. I'm not like confused or lost. I actually understood what was happening, so I will give them improvement points on trying to make sure that it was a little bit more cohesive, if you will. I'm not saying amazing, I'm just saying understandable. It improves upon the first, but it does trip on a few issues that makes it stumble a bit, if you ask me. So here are the negatives. The villains are generic as all hell. Though I will give credit, Daniella Bandea's character could be a bit outlandish at times. This side villain is interesting, but the villains, like the main villains, are bland and don't offer much. They honestly feel like background bad guys. They really feel like these are villains that you would see in the background, not the foreground, the background. I don't want to be rude to the actors who are playing them, but I just throughout the movie I was just constantly being like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you guys are here. Oh wait, you're the main villain? You are? Oh, I wasn't expecting anybody else. I mean, I was expecting Daniella Pineda to be the villain, but okay, I guess you guys were the main villain. Okay, because they just didn't feel like that. Maybe the side henchman, maybe, but really the main villain, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's as stereotypical of a main villain or main villains as you go. Man, this is kind of weak, if you ask me. The pacing runtime is still, I think, a bit too long. Every scene feels a bit inconsistent and goes on, I think, much longer than it needs to. With a runtime of 2 hours and 5 minutes, I wish it could have been less than, or at the very least at 2 hours. I really don't think this needs to be over. It has a hard time of making sure it's in the realm of under or at least 2 hours. It always feels like it needs to add a little bit extra. Maybe it's because of credits, but I always just feel this goes on a bit too longer than it needs to be, and I wish it doesn't have to be. I didn't know what to expect with this sequel, to be honest. I really did not. For as much as I wasn't asking for it, I'm kind of glad to have seen this film in the theater as I did, and I actually saw it with actually quite a bit of a crowd. Close out Autism Awareness Month with this. I appreciate it. I really do, because this month, as much as there have been a lot of people coming out in terms of showcasing and celebrating their autism, and at the very least, celebrating it with love and passion, we were hit with a lot of stupidity, especially from, one Health and Human Service director. Yeah. But at the very least, I'm happy that a movie like this, as much as, like I said, main actor, not on the spectrum, I get that. But it can at least show that people, either with mental or physical disabilities, can matter. No matter what it is, I appreciate Gavin O'Connor, Ben Affleck, and everyone involved in knowing that, hey, we want you to all know that you matter. It doesn't matter who you are, what you have, you matter. And that is, as far as that goes, I'm happy to at least say that this movie does appreciate people on the spectrum very much so. I am going to give The Accountant 2 an 8 out of 10. I thought this was a great time. I had a fun time watching this film and seeing, again, Ben Affleck, John Bernthal kicking ass. It was a lot of fun. And I hope if they want to make a third movie, if you keep these two together, I'll take it. I honestly will. I will go along with whatever these two end up. They at least are in the same movie together throughout the majority of it. I'm happy. So I will be doing a review of the Thunderbolts and the rest of May movies as now April comes to a close. So yes, look forward to those reviews and other reviews coming soon.